Alright, so once in a while a movie will get pulled from a theatrical release and dropped on Hulu with no notice. And it's not the worst thing in the world, apparently.
I went through it to see whose it was. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. It's awful.
Wounds is written and directed by Babak Anvari, the director of the wonderful 2016 horror film Under the Shadow. It stars Armie Hammer and Dakota Johnson, and it tells the story of a New Orleans bartender who ends up host to a bunch of paranormal phenomena after he picks up a cell phone left in his bar by a bunch of college kids. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, you know that I was a huge fan of Under the Shadow when it came out, and I love both Dakota Johnson and Armie Hammer, so I was pretty excited for this when I heard about it, and then reviews started coming out and they were less than stellar, and with the fact that this movie was pulled from a theatrical release and dumped on Hulu in the middle of October, I started getting a little skeptical. Having now watched it though, it was definitely flawed, but it's nowhere near as bad as I expected it to be. The movie actually has quite a few things that it does pretty well, I would say. The performances are all pretty strong, and when coupled with a really naturalistic script, everything comes off very organic. Hammer's descent into paranoia and madness is incredibly believable, and it's done in a way that really brings you as a viewer down the rabbit hole with him. Dakota Johnson is great with what little she's given, but her character is so criminally underutilized that I was left wanting a lot more from her. Anvari has a really distinct command of dread and horror, and it shines through in spades in this movie. He does a fantastic job at creating this intensely oppressive atmosphere, and if there's nothing else I could say about this film, I could at least say that it's incredibly creepy. The tension is palpable from the very first scene, and you always feel like you're teetering right on the edge of something really bad happening. And as they all start losing their grip on their sanity, you start feeling the same thing as well. The use of incredibly impressive sound design and some truly disturbing horror imagery makes for a horror piece that, at the very least, sends chills up your spine during some really intense creepy moments. The problems in the film begin to arise, though, when you realize that those creepy moments are pretty much all it has going for it, and everything else is disappointingly half-baked. The first two acts of this movie are exceptionally strong and carry this really dread-fueled tension throughout them. And that tension never quite goes away. The problem is that this film neglects any answers to the question why, and the why is very minimally explored past one or two incredibly brief sequences that only give you the bare minimum idea of what's going on. You guys know me, you know I love Lovecraftian horror, you know I don't like over-explanation in films like this, but I still do like to have some idea of what's happening, and this movie doesn't provide nearly enough. We know that these teens conducted some sort of sacrificial ritual that manifests demons through bodily wounds, but we don't know anything outside of that. We don't know why Hammer is chosen as a vessel. We don't know why these demons' conduit is to this cell phone. We don't know what happens to these teens. We don't really know anything outside of the fact that there was a ritual of some sort and now crazy shit is happening. All of the film's important details happen off screen, including Dakota Johnson's sudden turn to insanity and obsession with this ritual. Johnson's character is just criminally underused as a whole. We don't get anything resembling a character arc for her, and her entire side story just feels rushed on account of it not getting any of the focus. Her obsession with the ritual and her decline into insanity feels totally unearned because we never get to see any of it happen. On top of that, the script never really gives us any reason to like her, or Armie Hammer's character for that matter. In fact, he's kind of an asshole throughout this entire film. The film really doesn't give us any reason to care about anyone, since they're all miserable people who lie and cheat and are just dicks to each other before any of the paranormal stuff even starts happening. And it all leads up to an ending that I would say is rushed above anything else. Sure, it's atmospheric, but it's also incredibly abrupt and leaves me with not much to say about it aside from, oh, that's kind of creepy. I don't really know what happened, and I don't really know what this movie was trying to say. Is it about toxic masculinity? Alcoholism? People who put up fronts and try to fill the void inside them with whatever they can because they're empty inside? All these concepts are vaguely explored, but never in any way that feels satisfactory, and the ending doesn't lend to that at all. It just stops. I was definitely expecting this movie to be worse with some of the reviews I've seen for it. I was expecting a train wreck, but what I got was a moody, dread-fueled piece that, if anything, just feels a little bit underdone. I'm gonna say that Wounds is meh. It doesn't quite stick the landing when it comes to its themes or its story, but if you can fuck with a movie that's sole focus is to throw you into a schizophrenically charged life collapse with a lot of creepy imagery, check this one out. You might get some satisfaction out of it. You might like it more than I did. It's on Hulu right now if you're curious. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, click down there, like, comment, subscribe. I've got a Patreon link down in the description with some new reward tiers for you to check out. You can be like these cool people right here and donate to this channel, help us grow, develop, make new, better quality content for you all to enjoy. I would really appreciate it. It would mean a lot to me. But even if you don't, thank you so much for watching anyway, and I'll see you all very soon.